What's happening, Moses Lake? Thanks for joining us on the Rixican Show.
It's been a minute.
Yes, I'm some white guy.
That would be me.
Someone's like, "Are you a racist white guy?" Like, I don't know. I've lived overseas for like 3 years. I lived in Costa Rica and done different things. But anyway, throughout my travels, somehow I like diversity and cool stuff. So what's happening? We haven't done a podcast in a hot minute,
That's
but
what I was saying. It's been a minute. Then you go to some white guy. Like, where's he going? I guess.
I'm just random. So, very good.
So you're working on a roof, I heard.
Yes, we're. I did a snarky comment calling out the roofers in Moses Lake because none of them know how to do tile roofing,
Yeah, I saw that.
and I've gotten a few phone calls and I've picked up a few side jobs from it because they're like, "Yeah, I called about all these roofers." They're like, tile. I guess they don't know how to repair it. They don't know how to do stuff with it. But I have one job that we're lifting up all the tile, putting paper down, putting the tiles. Actually, this particular one's pretty strong. Sometimes you get old tile and they get brittle and they break and you have to throw it all out, but not this one. So kind of interesting. So yeah, if you can't do tile, you're not a real roofer. Sorry. They got to come in from like Tri-Cities, it's kind of funny. I think there's a couple old boys that can probably do it, but their young crews can't.
I didn't know what you said too until you brought it up that the tile like isn't what really makes it waterproof.
So the tile keeps the sun off the paper, and the paper underneath is truly what waterproofs you on a tile roof.
Yeah.
On a composition roof, it never gets through the top surface, but on a tile roof, a metal roof, your water membrane is very important. But the asphalt shingle should never get, it's a vapor barrier then.
I like it when you talk about my membrane.
Yes. Very good.
And they're just lining up on the show today. They really want to talk to this guy.
Yeah. We got Joey Kriete with us. He's in hot water. If you only see me, you're just on my Facebook. But if you go to Rumble, YouTube.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Then you can see everybody.
And hear everybody.
So if they sound kind of quiet in the background, but
yeah, we got quite a few listeners on here.
So we got Joey Kriete with us today. I guess one last
push.
Some punches. One last
push.
I don't want a black guy. Last time I had to tap out. The guy can wrestle.
He had you in a sleeper hold. So.
Yeah. Put me to sleep. I haven't slept in a long time, and that was great. Thanks. So I know the election's coming up.
August 4th.
Dottie's a huge fan of Joey Kriete.
I've just known him.
I've been fairly neutral on the thing. I've just been observing and been like, "Oh, this guy is interesting. This guy works for you. This guy's coming out of the woodwork," and just watching and seeing everything. You've always been nice to me, so I've never been in handcuffs. So I'm like,
that's always good.
That's always good.
Oh, you're missing out.
I'm missing out. Donnie's a big fan of handcuffs. Anybody a big fan of handcuffs? Yeah.
Yeah, comment below if you like handcuffs.
I don't know if we talked about this show, but I have been pulled out at gunpoint in Las Vegas, the North Las Vegas cops.
Yeah, we talked about that on the show.
I really like them. He was just kind of, I don't know. He was just ego tripping. I was like, "Yes, sir, no, sir." He's like, "Oh." Yeah, he just.
I've been drawn down on in Grant County and actually did 4.5 hours of hard time.
4.5 hours of hard time.
Yeah, it was a failure to appear warrant when I was a kid. Didn't even know such a thing existed. So, yeah, if you get a court notice, show up.
Oh, yeah. They don't mess around, do they?
Yeah.
Court when you're supposed to. Yeah. Don't even be sick. Don't go to your doctor's appointment. Go to court. I've heard all these stories. Like, it will follow you and haunt you for years and years. So,
second time I went to jail was in Cheyenne for 5 hours for a failure to appear in Oregon. So again, I was young in my 20s. So.
It wasn't for indecent exposure.
No, I got away with that.
Yeah.
The wig and beard helped,
Yeah. Streaking at a football game. And back when you can sprint and beat everybody.
You can barely walk now.
Yeah. See, karma. Have yours streak, or you can look forward to not being able to run later. That's karma. Okay.
I like caramel in my coffee. Yeah.
Wow, it's been crazy in here.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump to Joey Kriete. I think we've had enough little banter in the beginning. So you have this a campaign. How many guys are running for sheriff right now?
So there's me and two opponents. Yeah, got two opponents.
So you and two other guys over there.
Yeah, two opponents.
Two other guys. In our pre-talks, you were like, I don't really like to talk trash on my opponents, and so we didn't really even talk about them, like who they are, what they, He's like, that's not your style. Last election, it was Baker was running.
James, yeah.
And I think his big push was because he had a farm and his stuff was getting stolen.
Potato farmer.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the crime reduction team.
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump into that for a minute. Because I was like, I like James. He stops by.
Yeah, James and I became actually friends through the whole thing. I was really fortunate to meet the guy. He's great. I really enjoy him. So that was one great thing that came out of it. Was I got a friend out, quite frankly, with James. It was good. It was good to meet him and go through the campaign with him. Honestly, it was a good campaign last time. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but it was good. I'm glad I got a friendship out of it.
Yeah. But it seemed like his platform was, stuff was getting stolen on the farm, whatever. And then did that help pursue the crime reduction team? You're like, here, my opponent has a concern. Does that ever affect,
Yeah, I would say it more validated it than anything else, Rick. For years we had kind of had a conversation in the office about how we're going to proactively address this gap in crime that was between the very low level stuff and the really high level serious violent felony type crimes. And a lot of that stuff that we needed to address are all the crimes that basically affect the everyday community member. Those are the things we were just missing. I mean, all of us in this room have either been victimized by theft or know somebody that has. I mean, it's very common. Property crimes happen all the time around here, and it was just time that we did something about it and proactive. So my goal was to start the crime reduction team that we have in place now. It's a team of 3 very proactive 2 deputies right now that do a phenomenal job. They really do. They do great work. I'm actually going to add 2 more people to the team once we get people off of their field training program and finish backfilling through the agency. So eventually that'll be a team of 5 people instead of just the 3 we have now. And the impact that they've been able to do just with the 3 of them has been unbelievable. I mean, we've had reductions of crimes anywhere between 30% clear up to over 60%, different types of thefts and burglary cases. So it's been a great impact. And the thing is, for me, is it's still happening. Even though that reduction is great, it's still not good enough for me. There's more work to do on that because it's still happening. I don't know if we're ever stopping completely, but I think we have a lot more chance to do more work to have a bigger impact on things. But they've done a great job. They really have. It's exceeded my expectations that I thought were even possible with that team. They've just done a great job.
So what's the difference between crime reduction team and what every other deputy does?
So the crime reduction team, they do a lot of the follow-up that our patrol deputies just don't have time to do. Our patrol deputies are very reactive. They go to the 911 calls and call the old stale calls for service and things like that. So our patrol deputies will pass on the burglary theft cases that they have worked to the crime reduction team to try to get the guys to do a little bit more follow-up, maybe find a link between the 2 areas. Like right now, I know they're working real heavily in the Royal Slope area and down the southern end of the county right now with some thefts. So there's a lot of communication that goes on between our patrol deputies and our crime reduction team, and even into now our detectives now. They've really branched this communication piece that we've been missing with that mid-level crime, so to speak. And they've been able to do a lot of follow-up, do a lot of search warrants on cases, recover a lot of stolen property, put a lot of people in jail that need to go there, and they've just done a great job.
I'm sure that is the biggest putting them in jail. If you get the guy who's stealing, putting him in jail, then obviously theft will will probably drop it. It's probably a lot of times the same kind of crew or guys running around. It's like,
There's a lot of repeat offenders. Like Donnie was in his younger days. We're similar.
gotta keep your enemies close.
But some of those theft cases, it really revolves around drugs, substance
Yeah.
use, or it really does. And there's nobody out here committing theft cases and mid-level cases that are becoming rich. Okay, they're not. But what they are doing is supplying their habit. And so having these people be held accountable and if they get them into jail, now we get to a place where we can actually do a little bit other things now that they're in jail. They get that moment of clarity. Okay, they're sober when they're in there, hopefully. We can get them some resources. We partnered with Renew and we've added a designated crisis designated crisis responder that's involved in the jail now to give resources. We work with our recovery coaches, our recovery navigator program within the facility. A lot of partners that we've really established, and those relationships I started when I was the chief deputy at the jail and brought the recovery navigators, for instance, along with that, and they're now involved in the jail quite substantially now. So we're able to provide some resources to hopefully make people able to have better reintroduction into the community when they come out of the jail, give them some resources, give them a little guidance, maybe some mentorship with some people. So when they come out, they have some tools in their toolboxes where they may not have really that guidance while they're out on the streets and going through their point of addiction. We can at least give them some resources and a direction, try to get some help to keep them from coming back to jail because I don't want them back in there. I really don't. I mean, I don't want them there. If we get them in there, we get them some resources and I can keep them out.
Yeah, but you got to break in that fancy jail of yours. So.
There's plenty to be broken in on that. There's plenty still out there to do that. The great thing is we're doing something, right? We really are in Grant County. We're partnering with my district court, the community court project that is very structured as far as recovery piece goes with that. And it all overlaps. I mean, the crime reduction team, the things that they do to kind of get the ball rolling, it really does roll into being able to get other things in motion for recovery and hopefully kind of break that cycle, get that moment of clarity. Because that's what it comes down to. You got to break the cycle.
So I know they talk about this with the homeless, and there is a debate, I think, with jail, and like they're like, don't criminalize it, but I can't help but think there's a little correlation for those that they go to jail. They have this forced sober up period where they can reevaluate things. And I've talked to people that have come into Rick's and they're like, yeah, I made a few mistakes, went to jail, and I never wanted to be there again, and I quit doing that stuff. So I've heard both sides to it. I'm like, was it a factor in your decision making? And somehow, whether indirectly or directly, I've heard people talk about that. But I mean, do you have a take on that? Whether they're the homeless doing, stealing to survive, or addicts stealing to survive? Like you say, they go to jail, they have resources there, and then hopefully they can move forward. Do you see a correlation with that at all? Or
I think that there is. It's a lot better correlation now than it used to be. Back a while back, it used to be when people were arrested, and I didn't know any better than this when I was a patrol deputy. So I was part of the problem, not the solution years ago. I always thought you get people into jail, bam, they've got resources all over them. But that's really not the case. It didn't used to be. Because what happened when people would get arrested and put into jail, their services stopped. Benefits quit, everything stopped, and they were incarcerated. Things have changed now. Things have evolved. And now we have other resources coming into the jail as partners with the sheriff's office to be able to provide some guidance and to be a supportive piece to that. The one that kind of turned the page for us and hopefully it's okay if I mention the name, Noki Panda and Joey Hunter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know Noki.
Yeah, so they're two great stories. I love talking about those guys. I really do. Just phenomenal people that
fought addiction.
Oh man, you want to talk about the win of the impossible? They really did.
Yeah.
So they're living proof it's possible, I guess is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But these guys had an idea years ago, probably around I want to say about 2016, somewhere around there. they came to me about this recovery coach project that they wanted to do. And what they wanted to do is be involved with people that have addiction that are incarcerated. And they wanted to be able to be there and get them to appointments when they get released. Help them get assistance in the job market. Maybe help get them some housing. Basically, just be some guidance for these people and a mentor that they've never had before. Because Noki and Joey went through it. They understand how difficult it is with no resources to go through that. And so they did. We worked through it. It's still going now, and program's phenomenal. We have people coming in to picking up people when they get released out of the jail to get them to appointments, to work them through housing and all other benefits that are out there for them, to try to give them tools in their toolbox to be successful. I mean, is everybody going to be a builder when you give them a toolbox, Rick? The answer is no.
No.
Okay. But
No,
you do
no,
at least give them
no.
the tools to help maybe be successful to get that direction. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make them productive members of society back here in Moses Lake and make them successful when their time is up in the jail. We want them to come out and not come back, like I said. And anything we can do to keep them from coming back. That's our goal. It really is.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
If you just see me, you're just watching my personal Facebook, jump on YouTube or Rumble, you will see everybody. So
Shout out to Rob Jones, who's watching right now. Hi, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
hi. My name's Jeff. All right. So on social media, it's been pretty exciting with the union questionnaire. I'm told to get closer to the mic.
There we go.
With the union questionnaire and no confidence vote. And I took a step back when it came out and go, oh, this is interesting. There's got to be more to it. And I saw a little bit on your rebuttal. Anyway, tell us about it. What's going on there?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was quite surprised myself, as a matter of fact. Since I got elected in 2022, I made the pledge to the association at the time that I was going to have open conversations with them and have scheduled meetings with them, and to make sure that communication piece was there, and we did. For 3.5 years, once a month, I have a scheduled meeting with the association, and it's 2 hours. And I'm not aware. I've been a sheriff's officer for 33 years. I'm not aware of any other sheriff's ever done that. So I wanted to make sure that communication piece was there. So over the past year and a half, I didn't get a lot of feedback. It was pretty quiet. Hey, Sheriff, things are going great. Nothing on the agenda. So I get a phone call, actually a few phone calls before this vote took place that said of what was going on. I was shocked because I had these meetings with the association. There's been no concerns about it to me. I didn't know what was going on. So I wait for the following week, and I find out they have this special meeting. Our meeting comes up for the association, and same thing, nothing on the agenda. Things are going great. And I said, well, I've heard there's a few things going on right now, so let's have a talk. So I came in the office, the association did, and we talked about a few things, and there were a lot of things that they described it as, pretty nitpicky, and things fester over time. And I explained to them, that's the purpose of our meeting, is to talk about these small things that fester over time. We don't want them festering. We want to deal with them quick and figure out a solution and try to get better, because I don't have all the answers. I've never claimed to have all the answers, and I can't do this by myself. And I want to be able to work with people to have the agency be successful, because I'm not using the word deserve very often, but I think our community deserves to have the best Grant County Sheriff's Office that we can provide them. And I can't do that by myself without the partnership of the deputies, whether it's patrol deputies, corrections deputies, support staff, detectives, everyone. We all have such a vital piece of this puzzle that I can't do it myself. So I didn't have any details of these concerns that I asked for. I said, I need to know what the issues are. I've got to know. I can't address anything if I don't know what's broken. So I have a follow-up meeting the next week, and these concerns that they have, several of them were addressed years ago. Some of them were about uniforms. A lot of things had to do with collective bargaining agreement stuff I can't get into with them because it's all union stuff, negotiations. So we couldn't even talk about that stuff, a lot of it. All of them were anonymous, by the way. They just got information from anonymous sources. So a lot of the things had no context, didn't have any real details or in-depth details, I should say. So it's really tough to address them initially. I mean, drawing a lot of conclusions of things, and no fault of the associations. They just didn't have the information that's in them, and to be fair, they didn't have the context. So they tried to provide the best information they could with as much context as they could give. And the timing was just weird. Week before the ballots go out. The timing was just weird. The thing that got me the most,
What do you say?
you know, the thing that got me the most, honestly, to tell you the truth, is they had these concerns that were, several of them were, there were some that were over 3 years old. There were some of them that were fairly recent that just flat didn't happen. Well, we're able to confirm a couple of things just off of conversations we had with other people, but I was just shocked that none of these things were brought up in these regularly scheduled meetings that I have with the association for years. And then everybody's talking about communication and transparency and all this stuff you hear during the campaign.
Of course, all the buzzwords.
Yeah, can I have a little bit of help with that and have a little bit of communication and transparency from everybody else? You know, everybody kind of expects it from me, but it's got to be a two-way street. We have to communicate both ways. And so at the end of the day, went through the concerns of the association, and both of us made the pledge to each other. We're going to continue our meetings. We're going to keep having them because we want to be successful. We want to make things better. They made the commitment to me, and I made the commitment to them that we're still going to have them. We're going to be open, have open communication now from here on forward.
So more boxing in the meetings, unless everything is fine.
Yeah, well, you gotta have conflict. You have to. You have to have that conflict to be successful, to get solutions. You have to. There's just no way around it. You have to have those uncomfortable conversations, which I'm fine. I have no problem with. But it can't be one way. I've got to have hope. And so they've all made the commitment to me. I made the commitment to them that we're going to keep doing this, and we're going to communicate better with each other to make the organization better itself.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Yeah, that would be kind of shocking. So just me thinking about business organizations, whether it's military, I own a few businesses. I'm sure my employees would be like, I can do this better than he can. And they probably could. There's no such thing as a perfect business, even in the family unit. Show me the perfect family. We're just people doing things, and it's very common for us to think that you can do it better than your boss. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. It's very common to have these, I guess, type of belief systems in big organizations. In the military, the hurry up and wait, it drove me nuts. I was like, why are we sitting here for 24 hours? You should just send us all home to our family. Yes. So,
one viewer wants to know how many times they've met with you in the last 4 years.
how many times? It has not been every month, I'll tell you that. It's been more recently.
Sorry, Rick. Sorry.
It's fine. I would say it's been more recently. It's been more consistent over probably the last 6 months than it was before that. It was hit and miss before. One person may show up, maybe two people, then nothing. It was pretty sporadic for a while, but it was always on the calendars that everybody had with the association. So I didn't count the actual days that everybody showed up, but it has been scheduled every month since January, I believe, of 2023. So
you showed up.
I was there. There was a few that I didn't have to cancel. We usually cancel. There were a few that
I showed up. The others didn't always.
You sometimes get conflicts, and so you do have cancellations, which is fine. I mean, it's not the perfect scenario, but we have it on the calendar. It's a standing appointment every month for sure. So I don't have the number.
Yeah.
Just make one up. Just kidding.
Yeah. He says make one up. Out of once a month, so 12 times. It happens 6, 7, 8 times a month. Or a year.
Yeah.
It's probably. I would say it's probably. Well, it's definitely more than that. There's probably been a handful that have been canceled, probably less. So.
Newsflash: Joey Kriete just lied. It only happened 6 times. It's breaking news. Yeah, where's Source One when we need them?
Oh, what's that one? They used to use it on media for truth to check the truth.
The Inquirer.
No, not the Inquirer.
Not the Inquirer. To check the truth. I don't know. Mythbusters. Where are we going with
No,
this? I don't know.
I'll think of it.
Oh.
Probably after the show's over.
This 60 minutes. We will.
What would you say, Joey, that in your time in office, since you've been a deputy to now you being the sheriff, where you've made the greatest impact?
Gosh, I never thought about that question, Donnie, to tell you the truth.
Would you say I stumped you?
Yeah, honestly, I would. I would. I mean, I've been for 33 years now. I guess it kind of depends because the roles are so different. The first role that kind of stands out in front of immediately is when I was a detective in the Major Crimes Unit, and you're working a lot of child abuse type cases and things like that. And they're tough cases to work. They are when it comes especially with little kids. And so when you have those cases involving those young victims, and they're really the only true victims this world really has. They're so young. They can't formulate the idea in their mind to fabricate a story to protect themselves, so to speak, because they're just too young. They don't think that way. So kids are our only really true victims that we have in the world. That's how I think about it. And to be successful in those difficult cases because of who the victims are, I would say those are probably some of the more rewarding type cases. But when it comes to now, for instance, I'm in a position where I can influence things. I don't have all the answers. I will never claim to have all the answers. I have phenomenal people that work in our organization. I have a very deep respect and appreciation for every deputy, corrections deputy, detective, sergeant, corporal, support specialist, cook, medical nurses that I have, chaplain, all volunteers, everyone, because they work their tails off to make sure that this county is the best place they can possibly be. But to be able to be in a position to influence some of the ideas that they have and some thoughts that they have, and working along with the community to merge those things together to make them come to life is pretty rewarding as well. But to me, the collaboration you have between your team with the agency along with the community is a really special bond and mix that you get as the sheriff, which to me it's really exciting to me to watch that magical time happen, I guess, so to speak. So I enjoy that piece of it, being able to merge those two together, and it's really cool to see.
Very good.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Glad you practiced that before you go. Don't spit out your water.
Much water. Just
Yeah. Yeah, if I could make a few edits on what you said, no. So a few years ago, I was on a phone call, and we won't name names, but it was somebody.
You like it when we name names, though.
I won't name names. They're probably listening.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, they were. Joey Kriete is whatever. We'll say correcting somebody. And basically, you were telling someone not to put themselves in a position where they owe somebody a favor.
Yeah.
So you're a terrible politician. Is what we're getting at here. Yeah. To put yourself in a position where you owe someone else a favor, I think was the gist of what was going on in the background. I'm just the guy on the phone going, "Ooh, this is awesome."
I do remember that conversation.
My spies, it's working for me.
Here's Rick's head getting bigger as we speak.
My spies. But it's I guess a little insight I have on you that you're like, hey, like I can't be bought or sold. And you're counseling other people not to put themselves in that position because when you owe favors, what happens? Yeah, I mean, you've seen it. And,
Oh yeah.
yeah. What happens to people that sell their soul
Yeah,
in the
it's
political world. What happens?
yeah, it's a situation I just have never wanted to be in, and sometimes it's costed me some relationships and I guess you kind of realize how small your circle of friends really are, I guess, but which is fine. I'm okay with that. But I would like to try to do things for the right reasons instead of because somebody did something special for me as far as I lost money. I don't know. I just don't ever want to put myself in a position where I have to owe something. I guess is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And if you can maintain that consistency to treat everybody as equally as you can, then that's what I try to do. And I just always try to keep that in front of my mind is don't want to put myself in a position where I have to owe somebody. And saying no is okay. That's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you have to say no. But I don't know another way to say it, Rick. I'm not really sure, but that's it. Just I've always tried to think that way. I don't want to put myself in a position.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good place to be. And you're probably surprised how many friends are like, hey, a favor. You're like, yes.
Most of the time, they're kind of joking. I mean, they
Are they? Are they?
well, I think yeah.
They're testing the waters. You're like,
Yeah, I get poked out a little bit for that sometimes.
that's where the concept, at least, you hear the term, the good old boys, they run the place. But I think when people are in positions that don't, I guess, have the little, when people are in positions where they're not doing the favors, the good old boys don't get the rule. Everyone's on the same standard. And so, anyway.
Yeah, and I don't think that's anything that's ever going to go away because it's all perception, right? I mean, you're always going to have people that don't like what you do as a leader. I'm not in a position I'm in to make everybody happy, and I'm okay with that. The first thing that I do is everything that I do is on the community is absolutely the forefront. It has to be in the best interest of the community first. Then the agency is right alongside that. I don't make any decisions when it comes down to individuals and how it's going to benefit one person. Like I said, I look at the community first and agency right alongside. And sometimes you're not going to make friends do it. And as long as my decisions are in that order for me, I'm okay with it. But I don't know. You just got to have the community in mind first, I guess, is how I've always looked at it.
No. Anyway, we don't want to point out names and whatever, but it's like, how do I bring this up without spilling the beans?
It's a good conversation. So,
Yeah.
I didn't chew anybody out or anything. It was kind of just a subtle reminder, I guess is all it was. It wasn't anything bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's tough when you're in a position where you got to work with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you have to be as tactful as you can because you have to work with them again later. When you're running for election, everyone I always say they got their tomahawk out and they're swinging and they're going to be like, axe throwing and they're doing all this stuff. But when they really get put in that position, they realize they're like, here's a pencil, and they take it apart or break it and they go, okay, now make the changes you want with this broken pencil. You're like, I can't sign a document. It's like, and you realize you have all these people you have to please and work with.
Well, you got budgets. You got to work within budgets, and you can't make open-ended promises to people not knowing what your budget looks like. You can't make promises with it. You can't promise to buy your agency $160,000 worth of uniforms. You got a $30,000 uniform budget. It doesn't work that way. So you have to know those things, and that was a little bit of a blessing that I had coming into my first term was. When I was the chief deputy of corrections, I worked in my budget quite in depth. And I worked with the undersheriff very closely with how the budget works and operates and what line items want, things like that. So I was really familiar with that budget piece. And it comes down to the open-ended promises to people that are outside of your scope. You can't make those promises. And that's where it comes down to not putting yourself in a position where you have to owe somebody. That's those types of things.
So you talk about budget. So that leads me to the question is like, when I think of like city council and all these commissioners, I'm like half their time they're just trying to balance a budget or work with it, whatever they're allotted. I mean, is it similar in the sheriff's department?
Yeah, it's very similar. It's exactly what it is. You have to run through your budget within your line items and within your means, right? I mean, do that at home with your checkbook. It's the same way with your budget in the sheriff's office. You have different funding sources. The sheriff's office is not a revenue generating agency. You have to draw from a pool of money that every other office in the government draws from in the county. And so it's you have to manage that budget and know where your funds are coming from and how they're being spent, your expenditures, your revenues coming in are offsetting some of that stuff. You have to know that stuff.
So going to court and paying my fines, that doesn't end up in your pocket?
Well, a little piece of it
A
just
little
goes
piece.
through the state. Yeah.
It goes to the state and then comes back,
Yeah.
sliced down.
Sliced and diced. And,
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, we'll give you a couple seconds to rattle off your hoorah pitch to the world. Why should we vote for you, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
Oh.
Why Joey over
Yeah.
everybody else?
Yeah, I get it. So we've done some great things in the agency. We really have. The first 3 years, we've turned a staffing crisis into a staffing success story. I got one position left to fill in the organization, and I was down 25 when I got elected. And then we got 10 more positions to have the year after. So we were chasing 35 spots, and I've got one left to fill. I'm pretty proud of it. And over 60% of my people that I've hired have been lateral transfers from other agencies. So when you hear about the culture and morale of things, well, keep this in mind. You have lateral deputies that come from agencies all across the state, sometimes even out of state. They'll come right with our deputies. They talk to them. The patrol car with them will go to the jail, walk through the jail, talk to the corrections staff and things like that. And they come to our interview and we ask them, why Grant County? And we leave it at that. Every time they come in and they say, we love the culture here, we love the morale here, and it feels like a family. And I want to be part of it. So it doesn't make sense to me if we're doing such a bad job. Why would that information get relayed to new people? So we've turned that staffing crisis into a success story. We're partnering with outside agencies or municipal partners or state and federal agencies, Renew, our local behavioral health agency here, to provide resources for people that are incarcerated so they're successful when they come out of jail, trying to break that cycle. We're proactively addressing property crimes, an area we've never been able to address before because of the work we did with the farming community, because that's what we are in Grant County. We're a farming community. And we want to help make them successful by doing that. We have a lot of work still to do, Rick. We've got, the first 3.5 years, first term, it's a learning period. It really is. It is a learning period for everyone, including myself. We've done a lot of things in the first 3 years. We want to continue doing it. Like I said, the reduction of crime is great. It's fantastic. But property crimes are still happening. That reduction is not good enough for me. We got a lot more work to do and still do. And I'm excited to keep doing it. I still love doing what I'm doing. I respect everybody in our organization. They do such a great job. We've hired amazing people that work here. And I want to continue making Grant County not only the best place to work, but quite frankly, the safest place to visit, to raise your kids, raise your family, and to live. That's what we want. That's my goal at the end of the day, to make this place the best place I can for the community we serve.
That's it. I'm moving to the county, folks. That's it. It's safer there. No. How closely do you work with the city of Moses Lake? Because I know there's
Moses Lake, Quincy, Freda.
someone said they were driving down the road in town and a sheriff pulled them over and like, can they do that? What's going on? But anyway.
Yeah, I just specifically Moses Lake, since you brought up that Dave Sands and I, the chief, we've been friends for 33 years. We kind of got hired around the same time and we promoted kind of the same pace through the ranks. Great friends. We'll go golf when we have days off, or we hang out and golf course, like I said. And we probably have a better relationship between the Grant County Sheriff's Office and the Moses Lake Police Department than we've ever had. The patrol staff has always been good. Even when I was on patrol, they've always been tight within the ranks. Where the struggle was in the upper ranks of the administrative side of things. There was always seemed to be conflict, but we don't have that anymore. Dave and I get along great. I get along fantastic with all of his captains, with Mike, Jeff, and Adam. Just fantastic with all those guys. we share the same bad guys, so we want to be partners.
That's
And
the truth.
here's the thing is, the bad guys, they know the boundaries between the county and the city. So why should we treat them? And so we don't. We collaborate a lot with those guys, and it is a partnership it was really easy to establish because I already had the foundational relationship with the chief. So I'm very fortunate to have the relationship I have with Moses Lake and all of my municipal partners, not just Moses Lake, but Ephrata, Quincy, Royal City, Mattawa, Grand Coulee, Silk Lake, Warden, you name it. I mean, we step up and do a lot of things for a lot of agencies because we want to. That's our obligation to them because we want to support them the best we can. We stepped up and helped Warden PD when they were looking for a chief. Silk Lake, we did the same thing for them when they were looking for a chief and be able to provide some coverage for them when they can't do it. We did that for up north on Grand Coulee when they were looking for a chief as well. So we'll step up and provide some coverage for people when they don't have it because they're part of Grant County and we want to take care of the people in Grant County. That's our job. And that's what we want to do.
Yeah. So my final question, when you and Chief Sands are golfing, is the golf course a safer place?
Yes. Yes, it is. Unless you're standing to the right and drive.
It could be more dangerous. Very good. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Really, really appreciate it. That's always fun being on here with you guys. Thank you.
Do you have a website people can go to for your campaign?
I do. It's Joe Kriete for gcsheriff.com.
And it's Kriete.
Yep.
Okay. All right, Rick, send us home.
All right. Let everybody go home, eat dinner. Thanks for watching. And go to the election and vote for the person that you feel does the best. We're signing out. Thanks for joining us.